I mean, come on now. That was one of those games that reminds you exactly why you watch football in the first place. From the opening kickoff to the final snap, it felt like your heart rate never had a chance to settle. Back and forth, punch for punch, score after score, the kind of night where you're checking your pulse, pacing the room, and wondering how this thing is possibly going to end. And somehow, through all of that chaos, the San Francisco 49ers walk off the field with a 42-38 win that instantly belongs in the history books. This wasn't just exciting, this was memorable. This was the type of game people are still going to be talking about years from now when they bring up wild Sunday night finishes. Every time it felt like the momentum had swung for good, the other team answered. Ties at every major checkpoint, no breathing room, no margin for error, just pure pressure from start to finish. And when it finally came down to the final play at the goal line, with everything hanging in the balance, the 49ers found a way to survive. And here's why this one hits different. This wasn't just about beating the Bears in dramatic fashion. This win completely reshapes the entire postseason picture. Because now everything funnels into one final game, one night, one opponent, one stadium. The NFC West title, the number one seed, and home field advantage throughout the playoffs all come down to a showdown with Seattle. You could not script it any better than this if you're a 49ers fan. This is the moment where the season officially levels up. All the adversity, all the close calls, all the doubts, it has led right here. This team didn't blink when things got uncomfortable. They didn't fold when the game turned frantic. They kept answering, kept fighting, and kept believing, even when it felt like the margin for error was non-existent. And I want to know how you experienced this one. Were you watching alone, or were you surrounded by people losing their minds right along with you? Be honest, did you think the defense was going to get that final stop, yes or no? Drop it in the comments because this was one of those games where every fan has a story. If you live and breathe 49ers football like this, make sure you're subscribed and notifications are on. We're pushing toward 1,000 subscribers, and this final stretch of the season is exactly why this channel exists. And if this game took a few years off your life, go ahead and like the video because you earned. It's because as wild as this one was, the story doesn't stop here. The biggest game of the season is still ahead, and to understand how the 49ers survived this madness, you've got to talk about what happened when everything was on the line late. That's where this game truly turned. Now let's talk about the part of this game that probably had you the most stressed because it sure wasn't easy to watch. The defense struggled, there's no way around it. For most of the night, it felt like every Bears possession was a track meet, missed tackles, blown coverages, chunked plays, and a quarterback who kept extending drives made it feel like the 49ers could not buy a stop. If we're being honest with each other, there were moments where it looked like this defense was hanging on by a thread. But here's the thing, and this is what matters in January football. When the game reached its breaking point, when one stop meant everything, this defense found a way to bend without completely snapping late in. The fourth quarter, after being pushed around for most of the night, they finally dug in. They forced a field goal instead of a touchdown, and that changed everything. That single stand flipped the math of the game and gave the offense exactly what it needed. Then came the final drive, and you could feel the tension through the screen. The Bears moved the ball, just like they had all night, and every snap felt like it could be the one that ended it. The clock was melting away, the ball was inside the 10, and suddenly it was goal to go with the game on the line. One play, maybe two, stood between a walk-off loss and a season-defining win. On that final snap, the pressure finally arrived. The quarterback barely got the play off before the clock hit zero. The rush closed in, the pocket collapsed, and he was forced to escape. For a split second, it felt like one of those nightmare scenarios. The scramble, the throw on the run, the heartbreak. Instead, the pass fell incomplete. And, just like that, the game was over. Levi Stadium erupted. and the 49ers walked off the field still standing. That moment says a lot about this team. This wasn't a dominant defensive performance, and nobody is pretending it was. But it was resilient, it was tough, and most importantly, it was timely. All season long, this team has been about surviving chaos, not avoiding it. They kept believing, they kept fighting, and when it mattered most, they made just enough plays to win. So let me ask you this and be honest, do you trust this defense enough to make a playoff run, yes or no? And if you had to choose, did the defense do just enough, or did the offense completely carry them? Drop your take in the comments because this is the debate every fan is having right now. If you're still here, make sure you're subscribed because this conversation is only getting louder as the playoffs approach. Like the video if you were holding your breath on that final play because that stop is the reason. The season is still alive, and as big as that defensive stand was, the real reason the 49ers are in this position starts with the guy under center, because what Brock Purdy did in this game deserves its own spotlight. You can't tell the story of this game without starting with Brock Purdy because what he did out there was nothing short of special. And it didn't exactly begin smoothly. First play from scrimmage, pick 6. The worst possible way to open a game like this, on national television, with everything on the line. For a lot of quarterbacks, that's the moment where things spiral. For Purdy, it was the moment where he locked in. From that point forward, he was in complete control. Calm, confident, aggressive, and precise. He shook off the interception immediately and led the offense right down the field to respond. No hesitation, no visible frustration, just execution. That tells you everything you need to know about his mindset. Short memory, total belief, and absolute command of the offense, and look at what he did despite the circumstances. No Trent Williams after the injury, no George Kittle. Playing with banged-up receivers, it didn't matter. Purdy elevated everyone around him. He was throwing with anticipation, fitting balls into tight windows, extending plays when protection broke down, and making defenders miss in space. Some of the throws he made, especially late, were the kind that make you stop and say, "This guy is different." 5 total touchdowns, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. Over 300 passing yards, efficient, explosive, and clutch. And that final touchdown drive, with the season hanging in the balance, was the definition of franchise quarterback football. He stepped up when the pressure was highest and delivered a strike that put the 49ers ahead for good. What stood out most wasn't just the production, though. It was the creativity, the ability to improvise when the play broke down. The confidence to trust his arm, the fearlessness to attack downfield when the defense knew a throw was coming. Those are the traits that separate good quarterbacks from elite ones, and you saw all of it on display in this game. So let me ask you this directly, is Brock Purdy officially elite in your eyes after this performance? Yes or no? And did this game completely erase any doubt you might have had about him being the long-term answer? I want to hear your take in the comments because this is the conversation happening everywhere right now. If you believe in what you're watching, hit that subscribe button and help this channel push toward 1,000 subscribers. This is a franchise quarterback moment, and we're covering every step of it together. Like the video if you felt confident every time Purdy had the ball late, because that trust doesn't come easily. And as incredible as this performance was, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. This game is just another chapter in a season that has been defined by adversity, belief, and resilience, and when you zoom out and look at the bigger picture, what this team has accomplished becomes even more impressive. When you step back and look at the full scope of this season, it honestly doesn't make sense on paper. This is a team that has dealt with everything that's supposed to derail a year. Massive dead money on the cap, star players going down, key leaders missing long stretches, young players being forced into major roles before they were supposed to be ready. At multiple points, there were legitimate reasons to think this season could slide off the rails. And yet, here they are, 12 wins, control of their own destiny. One game away from the number 1 seed in the entire conference, that doesn't happen by accident. That happens because of culture, coaching, and belief. This team never flinched. Even when things got uncomfortable, even when the margin for error felt razor thin, they kept showing up and finding ways to win. Think about how many close games this team has played and survived. Think about how different that feels compared to past seasons, where those same situations didn't break their way. This year, when games come down to the final drive, the final play, the final moment, the 49ers don't look panicked. They look prepared. They look confident. They look like a team that expects to win. That starts at the top. The coaching staff deserves an incredible amount of credit. Keeping this locker room together through injuries, adversity, and constant pressure is not easy. But this group has stayed focused, stayed disciplined, and stayed connected. Players believe in the plan, they believe in each other, and it shows every time they're tested. And that belief has created something dangerous. This is a battle-tested team. Not a team that's cruised through an easy schedule, but one that's been pushed, challenged, and forced to respond week after week. That kind of experience matters when the games get tighter and the stakes get higher. So let me ask you this. Is this the most resilient 49ers team you've watched in recent years? And what do you think was the turning point of the season, the moment where everything started to feel different? Drop your answer in the comments because every fan sees it a little differently. If you appreciate what this coaching staff has done to keep this season alive, hit like on the video. And if you're still not subscribed, now's the time. We're heading into the biggest game of the year, and this channel is going to be locked in with you every step of the way. Because all of this, every win, every close call, every comeback, has been building toward one final moment. One game where everything is on the line. The Seahawks are coming to town, and the stakes could not be any higher. This is it. This is the moment the entire season has been building toward. One game at home against Seattle with everything on the line. Win and you take the NFC West, the number 1 seed, and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Lose, and all of that disappears. There is no gray area, no scoreboard watching, no help needed. The path is simple, and the stakes could not be higher. And what makes this matchup even more fascinating is the timing. The 49ers are peaking offensively at the perfect moment. The quarterback is playing the best football of his career. The run game is punishing defenses again. The confidence is real and it's earned. On top of that, there's a chance this team gets healthier at exactly the right time. Extra rest for key players, another week for bodies to recover. Another opportunity to tighten things up defensively before the postseason begins. Seattle, of course, isn't just another opponent. It's a rival, it's history, it's bad blood. And it's a team that would love nothing more than to spoil everything. That's what makes this game dangerous, but it's also what makes it special. These are the games you want: prime time, high stakes, no excuses. If the 49ers handle their business, the road to the Super Bowl runs through their house. And that matters more than anything. Home field advantage isn't just a talking point. It's real, it's rest, it's crowd noise, it's familiarity. It's turning Levi's Stadium into a problem for every team that has to walk in there. So I'll ask you straight up, do the 49ers beat Seattle? Yes or no? And if you're confident, drop your score prediction in the comments. This fan base is about to be loud, and I want to see where you're at heading into kickoff. If you haven't subscribed yet, now is the time. Help this channel reach 1,000 subscribers so we can keep building this community through the postseason. Like the video if you believe this team is capable of making a real Super Bowl run, because belief is everything right now.